Well, good afternoon or morning or evening whenever you get a chance to take a look at this, read it or watch it or whatever. It's April 7th, 2021. It's a Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, Journal 412, T+735, I think. I'm pretty sure. It's interesting. The other night while I was lying in bed, I suddenly had the vision of a centipede in my head. They're kind of grotesque little creatures, strange insects, with every segment of their body having a pair of legs. But I didn't think about 100 legs and 100 little feet. I thought about 50 pairs of shoes. And the reason I was thinking about 50 pairs of shoes, because it seems like there's always another shoe to drop. And it seems like we're always waiting for it. We're always waiting for that other shoe to drop. I know I've had my own experience with shoes dropping, particularly in the last number of years, between the bilateral pulmonary emboli and pneumonia and pleurisy and pericarditis and graft versus host disease, chronic graft versus host disease. And, most lately, the last episode of shingles zoster left me with post-herpetic neuralgia, which is not especially pleasant, especially when it doesn't seem like it ever wants to go away. But I was doing a lot of thinking about this other shoe dropping business because I'm headed to the City of Hope on Friday for a second transplant anniversary bone marrow biopsy. It's my present for making it this long. But the good news is at least I'll be asleep, so it'll be a nice little propofol nap. But nevertheless, somebody still will be poking a hole in my side and into my pelvis, which is not exactly a lot of fun. But it's necessary. It's necessary, especially with regard to where I am in the transplant. And it's one of the things that folks like me, cancer patients like me, come to recognize and understand as treatment goes on, especially, in this case, in my case, where it may result in, the doctors letting me know that I've been cured from the primary myelofibrosis, which is what started all of this in the first place. It'll be interesting to find that out. But other than the anxiety and the angst associated with waiting for that other shoe to drop, there's always the hope associated with, with the fact that it may not. Or if it does, it won't be as serious. Or it might be manageable. Or it might be something that you can handle. And I can tell you from experience that you get really good at handling things. Things that you never really thought you might be strong enough to handle, emotionally or even physically. But it's something you do because you have to. And there's really no alternative. So as I was thinking about all of this, and as I was trying desperately to get it down on paper into the blog post so that it made sense to somebody other than me, recognizing all of the bad things that can happen, and recognizing the community that builds up, either in the clinics or in treatment, between yourself and other cancer patients, between other families who are going through the same thing as your family is going through, and yourself and your family. It's odd because you become far more involved in the lives of people with whom you really don't know much. I mean, you're close, but not familiar, if that makes any sense. I think perhaps that's the best way to put it. you become very close to people with whom you are not familiar. And that's odd in and of itself. When you talk about this odd reality of the other shoe dropping, I can tell you from personal experience, immediate personal experience, and I mean immediate by virtue of something that happened just a few minutes ago. It's all brought home very quickly and very clearly. We just got a text moments ago, really, from the wife of someone who I got to know and Leslie got to know during many clinic visits. Someone who was suffering with the same disease that I have, primary myelofibrosis, and who was, whose symptoms manifested themselves very differently, but who was being treated for a much longer period of time than I was. When I met him, he was going through a drug trial, and we were really hoping the outcome would be qualifying for a transplant, very much like the one I had. We just got a text from his wife letting us know that he suddenly became very ill, went in to be checked out, wound up going through emergency surgery, and had part of his stomach and intestine removed. That's probably far more detail than you need or want to hear, but the fact of the matter is he's far more ill now than they thought he was or that he was before. And this new episode, this new development will cost him the opportunity to be considered for a transplant, which is really more than frustrating. It's devastating because it's not likely he's going to survive it. And I guess the bottom line is, when you talk about reality and you talk about the fact that there's always another shoe to drop, and life is pretty much like a centipede, taking shoes off and dropping them all the time. And it's up to us to figure out how to become resilient enough to survive that. Is the realization that as long as there are shoes dropping, we're pretty much okay. It's when they stop dropping that you got to worry. So if you're still in a situation where every once in a while a shoe drops and you're bemoaning the fact that it's terrible and it's awful and why me, the fact of the matter is that it isn't just you, it's all of us, and we're all getting through it somehow, and that's the best any of us can hope for. So while you're doing all of that, you're contemplating shoes dropping everywhere, stay well, stay focused, stay strong, stay healthy, stay home, wear your mask when you're out and about, socially distance, get vaccinated as soon as you can. It's our only hope to go ahead and knock this awful virus down before the variants take over. And recognize how lucky we all are to be here, to be able to bitch and moan and carry on about the shoes that we have to deal with. And maybe while they're falling, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put one of those on and walk a mile on somebody else's path. Stay well and take care till the next time. This is Mitch, over and out.